arrived out here in the mountains, and I can tell you, it is absolutely brutal for mosquitoes. Absolutely brutal. So, actually put that there, it might stop that falling over. Either way, there we go. Come on, stand up. There we go. Right, it's oh, the mosquitoes are horrendous. So, going to be doing a campfire, and as I always say, make sure you have enough water. That's half a bucket, so there's probably 10 litres of water in there. And I have my other fire bucket over here, so I'm not too worried about that. This is going to be a bit of a rush setup because these mosquitoes are fierce, absolutely fierce. Oh my goodness, and they just... Alright, one thing to note when you're heading out somewhere to do this kind of stuff, on the way I'd seen some logging, some people had done some logging, and I found these nice little pieces of wedge that they'd cut out of trees, and I picked those up because they're nice and dry. So there's 2 logs here that I had from my previous trip, so I'm going to use those. Anybody that knows me, you know, I quite often bring my old receipts and crap like that we normally throw away, but actually works very well for firelighting. I'm not going to mess around. This is a bit of a hurry the hell up and make some smoke, because I can tell you now, these mosquitoes are absolutely bloody horrendous. Come on, out you come. We need some smoke, and like right now. So, I'm not going to use a ferro rod. I'm going to cheat. Because I need flame right now. I need to start making smoke. I do have my ferro rod and everything with me, but I need smoke. That's the only thing that's going to get rid of these bugs. So bear with me a second. I'll get some of this smoky old crap on here. This old man's beard, or whatever they call it. Once you start getting some smoke going, these guys will bugger off. God, look at them everywhere. Christ. Walking up here was a bit of a pain because it's quite humid. We've had nothing but rain here for the last month. I kid you not, it's done nothing but rain for the last month. So that's why you haven't seen many videos of me out and about, because the rain has been horrendous. It's going to rain today too. The cloud is thick up there. So come on, smoke. The wood's fairly wet. This wood is really wet. Normally I would just stick a reasonable bunch on, but the wood is so wet that... Come on, smoke, work your magic. Right, that should be enough to get some good smoke in here. Come on, let's get some of that green crap on there. There we go. That should upset the mosquitoes. My rocks had fallen off. There we go. I have to roll these down. Mosquitoes are fierce. We've had, like I say, it's had a month of rain, so the mosquitoes are really out in big numbers at the moment. So, right, we get some more of the small stuff. For smoke, what you want is this stuff, old man's beard or whatever they call it. It burns fast, but it creates a lot of smoke. Look how fast this stuff burns. And this is wet. This material is wet. Like I say, it's done nothing but rain for a month. If you can't light a fire with this stuff, you're really in trouble. There we go. That's some good smoke. I don't usually like a smoky fire, but when the mosquitoes are out in large numbers, it's a good idea. Right. Whew. Come on, smoke, smoke. Yeah. As always, make sure you put your gear away when you finish with it, so you know where it is. Now I do have mosquito spray with me, but I try to use that as little as I can. That's doing pretty good. I don't want too much flame. Right, so I need to find some let's put one of my wood stash pieces on here. There we go. Start warming that through. Right, I'll get this fire up and going. I'll get back to you in a bit. I need some of that smoke, which is why I'm now sitting in the smoke. I had to move the camera was over there. It's getting completely smoked out. Look at that. Now I've got the fire going, the number of mosquitoes has diminished considerably. I can still hear a few. Yeah. We have diminished considerably. Mosquitoes are an important part of the food chain. However, when they're not eating meat, there's a whole bunch of fireweed I've noticed down through there. Yeah. There's loads of fireweed down there. Yeah. Kept seeing these splashes of colour down through the trees, and I'm like, what the heck is that? It's the fireweed. Yeah. Right, I don't want a huge fire today, but a slightly smoky fire is not too bad. We do have a good breeze, so there's a good breeze. My plan for today was to actually show you how to establish a north-south line without a compass, and all you need for that is a stick and some pebbles, a handful of rocks. But unfortunately, as you can see, you have no shadows today, so my plan of showing you how to do that, we'll have to wait for another day. People have asked me, you know, it's people that I know, and they say, well, how do you know where north is? Well, if it's night time, you can just find the North Star. That's very easy once you know what it looks like, as long as there's no cloud. But during the day, as long as the sun is shining, it's actually very, very easy to find north. It doesn't probably take a couple of hours, maybe 2 or 3, to find north, an accurate north, like a very accurate north. But and all you do is you put a stick in the ground, you look at the shadow, and as the shadow moves, obviously the shadow will come up and go round. As the shadow moves, every now and again, you put a rock at the end of the shadow. Very, very simple. And eventually what you'll find is that the shadow, the shape of the rocks that you've got, will kind of do this. And when this point here, where it goes right in, the lowest point here, that is when the sun is the highest in the sky. When the sun is at midday, doesn't matter what time. People ask me, well, doesn't it make any difference if it's sunrise or sunset? Not really, no, because the midday is always midday. Doesn't matter what time the sun comes up or goes down. People will always say the sun comes up in the east and goes down in the west. It doesn't. There's only one day a year it comes up in the east and goes down in the west. However, for the rest of the year, it comes up east-ish, and in the evening it goes down west-ish, which is that way. But if you place your rocks around, from where your stick is to the lowest point in the rocks, if you draw a dead straight line, that's your north-south line. And from that point onwards, you can do pretty much everything that you need to do. So once you know where your north-south line is, come on, smoke. Mosquitoes are back. This actually works remarkably well. People, I do have proper bear spray with bug spray with me, sorry, and that actually works very, very well. There are a lot of bug sprays that are way better than others. Let's just put it that way. I don't endorse stuff that doesn't work. But the bug spray that I use, right, bear spray. I keep looking at this. That's what I keep saying, bear spray. Let's put that there. I did remember my toasting fork today. And yes, I am standing in the smoke deliberately. Yeah. I use this stuff. Unfortunately, they don't make it in this shaped bottle anymore. I wish they did, because this shaped bottle fits in my pack absolutely fantastically. This stuff, like I say, I don't endorse any product that doesn't work. I see people endorsing stuff, you know, in the hopes that they will get some kind of recognition or whatever. I don't really care too much about that. Stuff that works, works. Stuff that doesn't, doesn't. This stuff works. So, I've been using this for years and years and years. So I do have this. This is, as you can see, there's still a bit left in there. There's probably about this much left in there. But I've had this bottle, couldn't tell you. And I won't get rid of this bottle, because I can just do that, fill it up with one of the new shape bottles, and keep this container. I have a couple of these. So I never get rid of them. And today, I remembered my tea. The other day I went out. I got all the way out to where I was going, and I forgot to take the tea. Right, so let me just grab another little branch here. Get some more wood on there. What do we got? What I do is I take these low-hanging ones, like these, cover myself in sawdust as I do it. Yeah. Put a couple of marks in there, makes it easy to break. This makes it easy to break. Ooh, that's going to smoke. Anybody that knows me will know I don't particularly like smoky fires. Oh, here comes the rain. Yes. Right. This is going to flare up a lot. Rain's coming. Now I have a dilemma. Do I put up a tarp? In which case I have to move my bench back away from the fire, or do I just put up with it and get wet? So, when you've got a decent sized fire, I don't think we're in for a huge amount of rain. Doesn't look too bad, but we'll see how it goes. If it starts absolutely hoofing it down, then yeah, I'll throw a tarp up. I do have a tarp, but then it means I have to move everything under the tarp, and then once you're sat under a nice dry tarp, the the desire to pack up and go home diminishes. And I do know that this evening we're supposed to get a reasonable amount of rain, so, which was another reason for doing a campfire today, because I know that overnight we're going to get a really good soaking rain. So yes, this fire will be out by the time I leave. There won't be nothing left of it, but also I like to do that on a day when I know there's going to be good soaking rain. So, yes. So, come on, smoke. Let's have some more smoke. A lot of smoke over in here now. Now if I went from that tree to that tree. Yeah, I'm too close to the top of the fire. See, this campsite was actually designed for tent camping. So that's why the fire pit is where it is. It was in the middle of the most open piece of area. And then I could just put up a tent here. But if I string up between these two trees, I have to move back about 4 or 5 feet to get under the tarp. If I go between those two trees, I have to move back about 6 feet. Ideally, I would go from that tree to that tree, which would put the front of the tarp about here. And since my tarp is flammable, I don't think I'm going to do that. So I would just sit here and get wet. As I always say to people, a little bit of water won't do you any harm. Just tell that to the people on the Titanic. Yeah. They might disagree. But yes. As you can see, this wood is pretty wet. This is not my usual quality of Campfire, that's for sure. The other advantage of this bench is I can actually just chuck my pack underneath it. It keeps it a little drier. That can go under there. That can go under there. Keeps a little bit of rain off. Like I say, it's, always make sure you got your bear spray with you. I've seen a few videos recently of idiots making comments, well, you should just carry a gun, it's way more effective. I can assure you that this is for close combat if you want with a bear, CQB. This is the best stuff, and I'll tell you why. Because a bear will only leave if it wants to leave. If you've got a handgun, I hear all these idiots on YouTube and Facebook and all this crap. Oh yeah, just carry a gun, it's way better than bear spray. I can assure you it's not. There's been many hunters that have been found with empty handguns. Literally put every round they can into this bear, and the bear has still killed them, ripped them to shreds. Because once you hit a bear with a round, you have a target this big, right in the middle of its face. So you've got a 600-pound, really angry grizzly bear running straight at you, and claws, teeth. The grizzly bear is 600 pounds of muscle, teeth and claws, and if you piss it off, trust me, you are in big trouble. It will kill you, no question, it will kill you. One swipe, that's it, you're now dead, done, finished. And trust me, a bear can throw you 15 feet, 20 feet easily. If that bear's pissed, it'll just hit a human and smash to pieces. People have all this notion they just shoot it, but unfortunately that doesn't work. So as I say, the only reason that a bear will leave is if a bear wants to leave. And you give it a face full of this crap, trust me, it wants to leave. Yeah. But yeah. And the other thing that using bear spray does is now a bear has learned, hey, you know what? These human things are nasty. Last time I got near them, my face burnt, and that's what the bear will remember. It will remember last time it got near a human, it's going to go, oh, human, oh crap, stay away from those humans. But, my fire's not doing very well, eh? Yeah. But I do have a secret weapon in here somewhere. Da-da-da-da-da. I've shown you this before. I have my secret weapon. This thing is amazing. Let's find some. That's how you revive a fire. A friend of mine bought me this. This thing's absolutely amazing. So that wood must have been pretty much at combustion temperature, like 250 or whatever it is. I don't know where it went. A lot of people panic. They go out in the forest and they sit there and they're like, oh my god, it's raining. I gotta, you know, it's like you're gonna dissolve. Human beings are not made of sugar. We don't dissolve when we get wet. We just get wet. Yeah? Some people don't like getting wet, but I can tell you now, sitting in the forest, in the rain, as long as it's not hoofing it down, because if it's hoofing it down, it puts my fire out. And then once the fire goes out, the mosquitoes come back. That's why I always have a smoky fire when there's mosquitoes around. The important thing is to come out and actually enjoy what you're doing. I know that in this area that I'm in now, because I had to walk about 5, maybe 6 kilometres to get here. I know I'm the only idiot out here. You know, there's a friend of mine, Eric, that runs a trap line out this way, and occasionally I will bump into Eric out here somewhere. But other than that, you don't see people out here. They just don't come here. There's nothing exciting. There's no massive Instagram views. This is just a little clearing in the middle of bloody nowhere. But it gets clearer every time I come here. I clear another little bit off and get rid of the ladder fuel, opens up the forest, gets the light on the forest floor, and the greenery just goes crazy. Once the sun hits the forest floor, it's good. Yeah. What I will do on a visit, not this time, but because I've already got the fire going, when I come up here, if I come up here for a camp trip, I will bring my shovel with me, and then what I'll do is I'll crush up all the carbon in there before I light the fire, and just distribute it amongst the trees and what have you, because the trees love this stuff. They really do. Yeah, it's good for them. Right, let's have a look. Where's my pokey stick? There we go. That one can go in there. That's a nice chunk of dry wood. Oh, look at that. That fell out. Perfect. Whenever you have a campfire, always have a pokey stick, because burnt fingers out here are not a good plan. My fingers are pretty good. They're pretty rough. My hands are pretty hard. It's the job I do. Trust me, your hands get beaten bloody senseless continuously. But makes for good strong hands. Move those coals in there. There we go. Keys are digging in my leg. Every time I come here, you'll see me looking down there. There's a dark shape down there. It's a bloody tree butt, and every time I look at it, it's all dark shape in the woods. I know it's there. I've been camping on this spot for quite some time, and I know that thing's down there, but I still look at it. It catches your eye every time. Well, that looks fairly good. Starting to get some heat in this bottom one now. Just rotate that round a little touch. Like I say, I don't like big tall teepee fires. That's not my thing. Big tall teepee fire looks great in a video, and a lot of people just build a big teepee fire so it looks great in a video. I don't do these videos to make wonderful looking bushcraft stuff, and there's plenty of really good channels out there that do all that. I make these videos just to show people what I do and the things that I bring along with me. Yeah. Like I say, if it was sunny today, I'd show you how to make a compass and a clock. And knowing how to do that is all you need to navigate, tell the time, or even build a pyramid if you wanted to build a pyramid, because they used exactly the same technique when they built the pyramids. Yeah. So it's very proven. It works very well. People have been using it for thousands and thousands of years. A lot of people, they're lost if they don't have modern technology. They just can't do anything. Yes, I have my compass, but I don't need it. I can find north, south, east, west very easily without a compass, as long as the sun is shining or it's dark. One of those two things, I can find where I'm going. Put that in there. Nice. Once I've got some good coals in the bottom of here, I will get some food on. Right. I do have the sun coming up over there, so we shall see how that works out. But I also have my trusty sausage rolls. And I did remember my toasty fork today. I think something got bent on this toasty fork because it's not toasty forking as well as it should. Right, so get some heat on here. I can tell you now, these sausage rolls are very nice, and they're good cold, which is why I bring them with me, because I can have these hot or cold, it doesn't matter. But I can tell you now, they taste so much better hot. The amount of heat coming off that fire ain't going to take long to warm that through. So what I did is I threw a whole bunch on there just now, as you saw, let it flare right up, and Now I have some really nice coals right here on the front. You don't want to cook your food in a flame, you need coals. Yeah, coals are best. So I'm just keeping an eye on something down there. There's a lighter coloured something down there that I'm not sure what it is. Probably just a piece of tree. I saw it just now. Just making sure. Around here, the coyotes are that colour. They're like a lighter colour, like that. The bears we have around here are black bears and grizzly bears. Once they know you're in an area, once they can smell smoke, they're usually nowhere near. They don't want to have anything to do with people. And, like I was saying earlier, yeah, there's always these idiots who say, oh yeah, carry a gun. And well, first off, you're not allowed to carry a gun here. You can carry a long gun, you can't carry a handgun. But you can carry a long gun. But why? You know, the idea of the exercise is both of you get to go home. The bear goes home, we go home. Very simple. Yeah. This is the bear's home. You know, I'm visiting the bear. The bear's not visiting me. I'm visiting the bear. People do forget that. Yeah. But also around here, we do have cougars, and cougars that light sandy colour, and that's what I saw down there. The only thing I will say for absolute certainty is, if a cougar knew I was here, I would never see the cougar. I've only, for 30 odd years wandering around these mountains, I've only ever seen two. One I had to chase off, and one was sitting up on a rock watching me. But it's the only two I've ever seen. I guarantee you they've seen me a lot, but I don't see them, and you won't see them. Yeah. If they know people are there, they're gone. Yeah. They don't have nothing to do with people. Yeah. Ho ho ho. That is heating through nicely. Let the fire die down a bit, just so I've got the nice coals. Move some of these little ends in here. The other thing that you'll notice with my fire ring here is the fire is within the fire ring. It's not up against the rocks. I don't like to build fires right up against the rocks. So this fire is obviously designed, this fire pit is obviously designed for a small fire. If I was making a fire pit for a big fire, this would be about 3 feet round, easily 3 feet round. Oh yeah, she's looking good. Let's just make a bit of smoke here. Convince the mosquitoes to go somewhere else while I'm letting that sausage roll cool down a bit. Oh, it smells amazing. Can't even begin to tell you how good that smells. Just broke a bit off. It's not good. We put that there. Let's make some smoke. As soon as that smoke disappears, mosquitoes are right back. Oh yeah, she good. Woo. That is hot. I can tell you now. Oh my god, that is so good. Unbelievably good. Yeah, that sandy colour thing I saw down there, it hasn't moved. One thing you'll know about wildlife, it moves. Yeah. It knows you're there, especially something like a cat or if you get a wolf or whatever. I've only ever been close to a wolf a few times. They are so smart, but they're such a shy animal, they really are. You're very lucky if you ever see one, let alone be close to one. There's my buddy that crows. Where are you? There's a crow down there, isn't it? If you're ever out in the mountains, listen to the crows. If the crows start going mental, there's usually something bad around, usually a bear. Around here, the crows go mental, it's usually a bear. If you watched my video last year from Dawson Mountain, as I'm going down that trail, them crows are going absolutely nuts. And I didn't click in straight away. I soon did, because I ended up about 50 feet away from a bear in the trees. I could see the bear, and it was chomping its jaws and stomping on the ground, and it was really upset that I was there, so I left pretty fast. That's when I broke the little plastic things off my bear spray. I actually had my bear spray out of my hand so fast, I actually snapped the clip off. This piece, I actually snapped it, broke it right off. Never did find it. Yeah. That's some good heat in that fire now. Yeah, I think that bear must have been eating something, because if there's cubs around, they usually make a noise and then the mum will leave, and the cubs will go up a tree, and the mum will leave to drag you off in whatever direction she's going. So if it's a predator, they're going to go that way. So bears are safe up the trees from most things other than other bears. So yeah, the mum will lead the predator away. It didn't do that, stayed right there. So I'm pretty sure there was a carcass there, and I sure as hell ain't going back there to find out. It's funny because that area down through that piece of valley, I've seen bears down in there several times, and it's not an area that people go very often. So I try to, once I know there's a bear in a particular area, I try to avoid it. Not because bears bother me, it's because bears need peace and quiet in the mountains. It's their home. If people keep frequenting sites where the bears are, then the bears have to try and find another quiet site. They just want to have a nice quiet life in the mountains. They got no interest in anything else. But, as I always say, wildlife only has 4 things on its mind: food, water, shelter and sex. And depending on what time of the year, depends on what order that's in. But, if you get near, in rutting season, you get near elk or deer or moose or any of that, that can be dangerous. Yeah, I never do that. I was chased by a moose once, and funny enough, it was in March, which should have been perfectly safe. Because generally speaking, in March, you don't have too much problems with them. The other end of the year, you got to watch. But yeah, this damn thing chased me, and I haven't been near a moose since, I can tell you. They're amazing animals, but they can stay the hell away. Yeah. There we go. So we will let that flare up. We will let that settle down again. And I'm going to do another sausage roll, because that one was very nice. If anyone will know me, just put some more bits on there. I want to let that die down a touch. Anyone will know me will know. It is cup of tea o'clock. Like I said, I was going to teach you how to tell the time. And the most important time to know is when it's time to drink tea. And that would be now. These are food jars. You can put soup in there. I've put soup in there before now. Oatmeal. You can get an extraordinary amount of oatmeal in one of those things. I did that once. I ended up with so much oatmeal. It was just insane. Couldn't even tell you how much I got in there, but it was full of oatmeal. And let me tell you, it took me forever to eat it. Oh, soup's nice in there. Ooh, spilling tea. Sacrilege. Spilling tea. That's no good. Yeah. So it does actually keep food warm for a very long time. It's absolutely brilliant. Or cold. If you put cold stuff in it, it keeps it cold. But it's not one of those flasks that has the glass on the inside. I don't know how many of those flasks now I've broke over the years, and I just got fed up buying them. Absolute waste of money. But so I use those now. Made by, who makes that? Thermos. They've been making flasks forever. But it's actually a food jar. But what it does do is it makes tea and I made this tea this morning about 5 o'clock. It is I'm going to say it's about 10:30 now, and it's still so hot that I'm having to sip it. Quite often, if I end up with a little bit left over towards the end of the day, you know, if I've been out all day and I've been out on a 10-hour day, 12-hour day, whatever, the tea is still hot. You know, it's still hot and drinkable. It's not cold yuck. It's nice. Oh, that is hot. Yeah. Like I say, I made that that's 5 hours ago, roughly. I made this, and it's still hot. I can feel it. As you know, when you drink something hot, you can feel it going down. Yeah, it's still hot. Yeah. Those 2 pieces of logs in the bottom, they were the pieces that were there from my last campfire. I hate leaving bits. I don't like leaving logs in a campfire. But I like to burn up all the bits. So what I'm going to do in a minute is see if any of those bits have burnt through, and then I can just turn the ends round and kind of turn them into the centre of the fire, and it'll burn those bits up. Slowly but surely, I'm removing all the ladder fuel around the campsite, and that's a good thing. If you camp in a campsite, when I first came here, I'm going to see if I can find a picture. I know I took pictures of this spot when I first came here. It was so thick with what's the name, like low down ladder fuel. It was absolutely thick and dense with it. But if you camp in an area, it thins it out, and it's slowly but surely it thins out. If you ever go to any of these backcountry camps out in the middle of nowhere, like the horse camps, you won't find a stick. There's not a piece of small twig laying on the tree anywhere. You ain't going to find it, because they've all been cleared out over the last 20 years. You know, so you won't find any. Yeah. Oh, that is a good cup of tea. Oh, and the only thing that's better than a good cup of tea is another sausage roll. People do ask me, do I ever eat anything else? And I do. Yeah. Now, if I was camping, obviously, I wouldn't have my food in sight, like where we are now. I would have it strung up a tree somewhere, a good distance away from where I'm sleeping. You never want to have food right next to where you're sleeping. Oh, that's some good heat, some good coals in there now. Oh yeah. Let's just move those around a bit. That is some good heat in there. Now I wonder if I can, what have we got there? If I can get that one to stay right there. There we go. Yeah, that's a better way of doing it. You just take your toasty fork. I like the toasty fork. It looks way more bushcrafty if you get a green twig and you sharpen it into a point and stuff that through your food, your piece of fish that you just pulled out of a creek or whatever. Yes, it looks more bushcrafty. However, like I say, my videos are made to show you what I do, not necessarily for huge, exciting, what's the name? What would you call it? Like really crazy, exciting footage all the time. Some people have said my videos are kind of boring. Well, they're not designed to be action-packed movies. Yeah, they're just a description and show you what it is I do when I come out to the mountains, and hopefully people learn a few things. If that sun would actually break out from behind those rain clouds over there, I'd show you how to make a compass. But it's real simple. It's very, very simple. Yeah. Not too much flame in my sausage roll. There's smoke in there. Bloody mosquitoes. It's the only trouble this time of the year. Once we've had some rain, those mosquitoes are relentless. through. The secret is to let it warm through without burning it. Yeah, I do not want burnt sausage roll. Oh yeah. Woke up this morning about 1 o'clock. Thunderstorms going. We don't get, see how our thunderstorms work where I live, because of the mountains, the huge mountains are right there. What we tend to get is the heat builds up during the day. In the afternoon we get horrendous thunderstorms. We get hailstones this big, I kid you not, this big, but they spray the clouds to try and make them smaller, because the $1 billion insurance claims every year get a bit expensive. So we do get some amazing storms, but what usually happens is the heat builds up during the day, you get a thunderstorm in the afternoon, in the evening, and hey presto. That's because our wind always usually comes from the west, which is that way. Now, what we've got at the moment, we've got some upslope weather coming, so everything upslope is coming this way, obviously up towards the mountains, hence the name, and that was what produced our thunderstorms last night. We don't normally get overnight thunderstorms. See it right on the tree behind me is a woodpecker. I just heard it land. It's looking for bugs. I wonder if it'll do anything. I don't want to scare it off. It's a woodpecker literally just landed in the tree right behind me. Hear the bugs under the bark, and what they do is they tap the bark. That's what they're doing. When you hear them going brrr, they're actually looking for bugs under the bark, and when they hear them, the sound is different. When they hear them, then they chip a hole and pull the bugs out. Yeah. It's clever, isn't it? Yeah. Makes you wonder how the hell they hear it under the bark. It's literally right on the tree. One of the things I like to come out to the mountains for. Right, let's see how that sausage roll's doing. I'll have to turn it over a bit. Do the other side. I don't want to put any more wood on there yet because I'm still cooking food. Yeah, she's hot. Yeah. As I've said in my other videos, if you can put your hand next to a fire and it doesn't burn your hand, then it's not hot enough for cooking. If I put my hand, oh yeah, if you can keep your hand there for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 seconds, whatever, then the fire's not hot enough for cooking. But that is hot. Doesn't look like it's doing much, but I can tell you that's chucking off a lot of heat. Huge amount of heat. Enough heat, in fact. I suspect. Oh yeah. Oh, right, that's hot. That is hot. See, this one's burnt through. I can turn the ends around there. That's what I do. I just like to burn up the ends, make sure they're gone. Right, I will get some more bits on here, make some smoke, and I'll get back to you in a moment. Right, so I just had to swap my battery up because it was starting to go low. Now, somebody did ask me, I used to have 4 batteries for this GoPro. However, ooh, come on, get rid of these mosquitoes. I used to have 4 batteries for these, but a couple of the batteries started to puff up. When they start to do that, time to get rid of them. That's a bit smoky, come on, need some flame. Smoke is good at some times, but there we go. Let's get rid of the smoke. Right. the people have asked me, how do I charge up my batteries if I'm out in the middle of nowhere, especially if I'm out for several days. So these booster packs, these little, I don't know what you call them, one of these things, fully charged, will charge up. I just have a cable, little adapter, and then I put my batteries in there, and then it charges them up from there to there. I can, and it doesn't take long actually, it's surprisingly quick, but I can charge 2 batteries at a time in this little adapter thing that I have. I am waiting for the new GoPro to come out. There's supposed to be a new one coming out. Usually September. GoPros usually turn up in September. So rumour is the GoPro 14 is coming out in September. So we shall see. That's why I haven't bought 2 new batteries yet. Because to buy 2 new batteries is going to cost me a couple of $100. So, sorry, $100. So instead of doing that, what I will do is I will wait and see what the 14 turns out to be. I've heard lots of rumours at the moment, so at the moment they are only rumours. Until I have one in my hand, it's just purely a rumour. Yeah. So we will see if we can get rid of some of this smoke here a little bit. Whoa, jays are coming. That sound? That's a jay. Yeah. Too late, jays. I've already eaten my sausage rolls, mate. Them buggers will turn up. They will steal food right out your hand, them buggers. I call them sandwich stealers, because they will literally take food right out your hand. Yeah. This wood is absolutely soaked. Like I say, it's done nothing but rain for a month. Yeah. That's why I haven't been out making videos. It's done nothing but rain. So I will pile up a few bits on this end. Get some heat through there. Excellent. And while my battery is charging, we know what time it is. Another cup of tea time. See, people make bushcraft videos to show all this stunning whittling the log cabin out of 2 sticks with a blunt knife, you know, or a toothpick. You know, that's great. And like I say, there are some very good channels out there that show how to do all that stuff. But that's not what this is about. This is about my time in the mountains, and why it's also important to come out and do things like this. We've got all this trouble going on in the world at the moment because basically 2 geriatric old fucks that are got all kinds of ego issues going on in their lives, I guess. We've got Trump one side and we've got Putin the other side. I don't know which one's worse. Yeah. Never did I think in a million years that America would be isolating itself on the world stage and basically becoming a dictatorship, but here we are. I don't think the average American really gets to see how bad it is from the outside. Like, we get to see the news from the outside. That is very much filtered. By the time it gets through to the American general population, I can tell you, I'm sure they don't know half of what's going on. But the only good thing I keep telling people is both of those geriatric bloody ego freaks are old and they will die soon. Nothing you can do. You can have all the money in the world, you will eventually die. When you do, the world will move on. Nobody will care. One thing is for absolute certainty, though, he will go down as the worst president in American history. Literally unbelievable. Yeah, it's going to take America for a long time to recover, if they recover. There's a big if, I can tell you. The world is moving away, so, which is not a bad thing. You know, it's not a bad thing. You can't have one country calling the shots forever, because if you do that, you end up in a situation like we're having now. You know, if you look at Russia, it's the only reason that Russia's in the state it's in is because it's got one guy who basically controls the entire country. Nobody would dare say a word against Putin, I can tell you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a general, you could be the head of the Politburo or whatever the hell it is they have out there. It doesn't matter. You upset that guy, you're gone. And that's what Trump wants. But the world is smart enough to know how to trade without them. And that's exactly what's happening. I can tell you now, here in Canada, the anti-American stuff is huge. we very much welcome visitors, and Americans are very much welcome to come and visit, because it's only a very, very small portion of Americans that are what I would call Trump supporters. A very, very small amount. But either way, they're doing a lot of damage, and it's going to take a while to fix, if it's fixable. I don't even think it is fixable, to be quite honest. I think the America of a year ago is gone forever. Yeah. But either way, that's the reason that you come out to places like this, is to get away from that crap, is to just sit out here, find sticks to put on the fire, drink tea, make some sausage rolls, and avoid the raindrops as much as possible. That's why I do it. I don't do it to make stunning videos. Like I say, there's some amazing channels out there that really do a great job at teaching people all that kind of stuff. There are some really, really good ones. There's some crap too, trust me. A lot of that stuff is garbage. It's all clickbait garbage. You get some bikini-clad woman out in the middle of nowhere building a log cabin. You know, you wouldn't know how to use a saw, let alone bloody build a log cabin. But it's all done for TV ratings or show ratings or clicks, likes, whatever else it is they want. It's all about making money. And to me, this is not about making money. I don't make any money out of this. The rate I gain subscribers, it would take me probably about 20 years before I even hit 1,000 subscribers. But I don't do it for that. I do it so people can see that in life sometimes it is important just to come and sit around a campfire, do absolutely nothing, and just enjoy the day in the forest. That's all this is. I do try to teach people some things. Oh. I have a sneaking suspicion. You know when you think you remember something? Not in that one. I think I bought something else yummy with me today too. Oh, I did. Yes. Now, I'm not going to name this particular bar. And like I say, I don't try to support particular outfits or any of that kind of stuff. Whew. Doing well with keeping the bugs off, that's for sure. Alright, I'm going to burn that before you can see it. I used to buy these things all the time. There was never a time that I didn't have these in the cupboard. So I take them out in the mountains. They're amazing food. However, when they became trendy, the price went through the roof. So I only ever buy them now if they're on sale, which is very rarely, and which is a shame because these are actually really good. Not going to name them, but when they became trendy with the trendy hiker brigade, the price just went absolutely stupid. So I stopped buying them. Yeah. Like I say, I always had these things in the cupboard, always. Not anymore. It's a rare treat to have these now. That wind has come round. A little bit of smoke is good. A lot of smoke is pain. So let me just show you what I do with my batteries while I'm letting that smoke just a bit. Right. I bring out one of these big booster pack things. Nice long cable and a charger. Orange light on there at the moment. So I have a short cable and a long cable. It booster pack. If I'm going out somewhere that's a long way out, I will take this with me. This little door here, this is a door that I can take off and I can run the camera purely on that backpack, that power pack thing or whatever you call it. And the reason for that is if I'm doing a time lapse or anything that's going to take a long time, then get out of smoke. Oh my god. Then I hook it up on that power supply and go from there. That is smoky, isn't it? God, yeah, come on. Need less smoke. It's a balance. There's a pile of wood at the front of this fire that hasn't gone up yet. It will. The heat will get down in there. Oh, having said that, it's working on it. There we go. The other advantage of drinking all your tea is you don't have to carry it back with you. Your pack gets lighter. As you drink water, eat your food, drink your tea, pack gets lighter. I don't know what this weighs, not a lot, a few pounds I guess, I don't know, who knows. Like I say, some people make bushcraft videos that show all these stunning things, but what it actually is how to drink tea. Cheers people. Yeah. I did put my welly boots on today. If you could see what I had to walk through to get here, I'm very glad I did. God, it has rained for literally the last month. All of July, pretty much. I think we only had a couple of days in July that it didn't rain, which is very unusual for us. I'm sure all the people will be out there shouting global warming and all the rest of it, yeah. Yeah. However, climate does change. Changes slowly. The problem is we're changing it fast, and that's the problem. Yeah. Climate always changes. Always has, always will. Funny thing is, we're actually living in a very settled part of the world's climate. For the last 8,000 to 10,000 years, the climate has actually been fairly stable, which is very unusual because it's not normally. Yeah. If you look back in historical records, like in plant life, tree rings, fossilization and all this kind of stuff, dating stuff, you find that the climate used to change a lot more than it does at the moment. So we're actually living in a very stable part of Earth's history. So we shall see. I won't be around long enough to see it, but I suspect one day there will be ice back here again. In fact, I know there will be. Has been many, many, many times. Won't see it in my lifetime. Oh, that is so good. I can't tell you how good that tea tastes. Oh, Yorkshire tea, hard to beat it. That's the last. A friend of mine, they got me some what's called biscuit brew, which I've never had before. It's actually not bad. Yeah, not bad at all. But, I've been using that up, and this is the last bit of that I have. So, oh, yep. As I said in my other videos, the more tea you drink, the less you carry. Close it over for a minute. Make sure we don't get no bugs in there. I did bring a bunch of waterproofs and stuff with me today, but I'm trying to burn up these ends. That's why I'm not stoking it up with lots and lots of wood. I'm trying to burn up the ends. Yes. And this is how you spend a good day in the mountains, doing bugger all. It's good, isn't it? I'll just move that around there a touch. Some of these ends are doing pretty good. That one there's not. Let's see if we can change that. People like to have a big roaring flame fire like this. It takes a lot of wood to keep a fire going like that, it really does. However, that fire is actually putting off a huge amount of heat, it really is. Yeah. That's why you should never walk away from a fire, as I've said many times in my fire videos, and I will say it again. Once you light a fire, it is your fire, you are responsible for it and everything that it does. So, the wet bug. The smoke works very well on mosquitoes because they absolutely hate it. However, the flies, like normal flies, what I call a house fly, I don't know what their correct name is, what I call a house fly, they're not bothered too much by the smoke. The mosquitoes hate it. That fire is kicking off a lot of heat. I see people walk away from fires like that because they think, oh, it's just smouldering, it'll go out. They don't. If I left that now, if I didn't do anything to that fire now, I reckon 5-6 hours, that would still pose a decent fire risk 5 or 6 hours from now. I also know that 5 or 6 hours from now it's going to rain, and rain considerably. But, the grey hasn't started to grey right up yet. We've got an upslope, like I say. Normally weather comes from that direction. The big mountains are literally just here. If there was no trees you could see them. You can see the tops of the mountains right here. They're literally just right there. So because of the trees you can't see them. That way, that's where the weather's coming at the moment. It's coming upslope. Yeah, it's coming from the prairies up towards the mountains, which is unusual. It doesn't normally come from the east. Come on, little fire. Shouldn't eat that now. That can go there. I was going to put a tarp up. I don't think I need that now. Tarp lives in the back of the pack, in there. There's a nice big cubby in there. In this container, anytime you come out in the mountains, there's several things that you need. I always try to make sure I have them with me all the time. Here's a headlamp. I have a really good headlamp. The advantage of this headlamp, let me show you, because I carry that backpack, that power pack thing with me. On the bottom of here there's a little hole, so you can charge this up. Right? The advantage is, if I put that pack in the top pocket and I've got my pack on, when I have my headband on like this, right, I can charge that up from in here straight into the back of that. So literally my headlamp will run until that thing is empty, which is days and days and days of light. Literally that thing will run this thing for days. However, it's remarkably good light. They're fantastic lights like these. Always make sure you have some form of light. Not so bad this time of the year because we have, oh Christ, what have we got? 12, there's a good 10 to 12 hours of reasonable light in a day. In the winters around here, you know, you have 5-6 hours of reasonable light and you're done. The other thing, of course, is a good compass. Always make sure you've got a good compass. If I lay this up, where's my stick? If I lay that up like that, that's my north-south line right there. That's pointing north straight up through there. If the sun was shining, I'd show you how to do that without a compass. It's very simple. Let's do that back up. There you go. So that's my north-south line. So to find my east-west line is very easy. Just take another stick, put it through the middle, so I've got 90 degrees on each one. So that's my north, south, east, west now. Job done. Yeah. I now know exactly where I am. Now if you want to tell the time from that, you go, there's your north, and say the sun, for easy numbers, let's just say the sun was dead south, or 150 degrees, so it's not quite dead south. Every hour is 15 degrees. So if you had 180 across here, if that's where your reflections were, your sun for your longest shadow, or your shortest shadow, sorry, then you know that that's dead south. When that shadow starts to get longer again, as I was explaining earlier, if you put your pebbles out, you'll see that the pebbles come down and then the pebbles start to stretch out again. At the point where they reach the lowest point, that is dead north, because the sun is now dead south. So if you've got a stick sticking up here, so you had a stick in here, you look at the reflection, the sun is dead south, the shadow from there, that will be the shortest shadow, and then the shadow starts to get longer. So you end up with a shape that kind of does this, right? That lowest point there, that's your dead south point, and that's how you find your north south. Next time the sun's shining, I'll do it for you. If I'm sitting somewhere for a few hours, I'll just put a stick in the ground and I'll show you how to do that. All you need is a handful of pebbles. You can use sticks if you want, but pebbles works really well. That fire is kind of abysmal, isn't it? But that's all you need. Once you know your north-south, you can tell your time. You can tell pretty much the time of the year too. If you look at ancient societies, people say, you know, they built stone circles for religious reasons and all this kind of stuff. There probably was a bit of that attached to it, but I think you'll find that the majority of the reason that they built stone circles, wooden circles, the only reason we don't see any wooden circles now is obviously the wood's rotted away. But they used to make them, yeah, and they'd put sticks in the ground, like posts, to mark where the sun was, mark north-south, east-west. If you go to Stonehenge, they did the summer solstice coming up over the Hillstone. That was a very important time for them. So they knew now that they were heading towards winter that they'd had the longest day. So just knowing where that line is can tell you everything you need to know. When to plant crops, what time it is. I mean, we use hours. I mean, obviously they didn't have hours. So it would have been east o'clock, west o'clock, south o'clock. Doesn't matter. Yeah. You knew what time it was roughly, yeah. But that enabled you to do all kinds of building. If you wanted buildings to face a particular direction, you can use buildings for navigation. You can use all kinds of things. If you look at the Egyptians, they had these great big obelisks, and the longer this stick is, the longer the shadow stick is, the more accurate you can subdivide it, and the more accurate you can be in your measurements, because you've got more data points. So the more data points you can collect, the more accurate the information. But so it's very simple. Just knowing how to lay out a north-south line can really make a difference. Yeah, and that is my north-south line right there. Yeah, that's how deep the mud was coming in here. Look, I was wading across a piece there, and I wanted to see how deep the mud was, and you can see it still hasn't dried up. Yep. So I do need to do something with that fire. I'm going to build this up a bit because I want to burn off those ends. I don't want to leave all those ends in there. I'm going to build that fire up a bit, and I will get back to you in a moment. Burn off some of these ends. All these little bits. Looks amazing, this thing, eh? Really is clever. Doesn't take much to get it going, eh? Yeah. Looks nice. If you haven't got one of these things, get one. Yeah. My battery is almost done. Yeah. So let's put that away. So all that is one of these booster pack things. So I still have 4 blue LEDs on here. Yeah. So I've charged up that battery and it hasn't even lost 1 bar or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Let's put that in there as well. The only thing I would say is with this kind of electronics, If it starts raining, make sure you put it away. That stuff does not work well when it's wet. People do ask me what else I keep in here. I keep my moorer in here. I've got a little moorer in here. One of the most important things to keep is first aid kit. A number of people that head out to the mountains and I see them with no first aid kit. This is a small kit. It's got bandages in there. It's got some polysporin in there for burns, cuts, whatever. You know, but always make sure you've got your first aid kit with you. Yeah. In actual fact, will that fit in there? It's always in my pack anyway. But if it will fit in that bag, I don't think it will. No, it won't. In here I have hundreds of feet of paracord. Like I say, I keep my moorer with me. I like this thing. This is a great little knife. Yeah. It's got a good spine on the back for light the fire. Got a good edge on it too, this one. You don't want to touch that too much. I've got this one pretty sharp. And the other reason I like this one, obviously, bright orange. My other knife that I carry with me is the BPS, and I've got a few other knives that I usually use, the opinals and whatever. I usually quite often have an opinal number 8, and I use that for food prep. These knives are a little thick for food prep. They do work. You can still do good food with it, but the opinal number 8 is an amazing knife for basically a lot of stuff. I've had opinal number 8s since I was 8 years old, basically. Yeah, amazing little knives. I believe I'm correct in saying that they haven't changed. I think it was 1880 or 1890 they were designed, the opinal number 8, and they haven't changed since. Yeah, they haven't changed. It's the same shape, same handle, same everything. Hasn't changed. So you know they got the design right. When here we are 100 and whatever years later, and they're still making them. They're still one of the most popular little pocket knives you can imagine, and they sell literally millions of them. Yeah, you know they got it right when. Yeah, so that's always in there somewhere. Always have an extra knife. I do have my normal kit with me. In here I have, I'm clearing trail on the way back. There's some alder I've got to cut out. I have a spare blade for my saw. You can't get these. These are, me and a friend of mine made this. They should make them. Watch your hands on these things. These teeth will do a nasty number on your hands, I tell you. So that just lives in there. I can put my nippers in there as well. I use those for clearing alder off of trails and stuff. I just got some Velcro across here, some 2-inch Velcro, and that just goes on there. Yeah, it keeps that nice. I do have my Gerber knife on here. It's very nice. Water, obviously. In here I have poncho, fire lighting kit. That actually weighs. That is actually pretty heavy. Yeah, but a lot of that is water today. It's I've got a full water container in there. Yeah, my pack is getting lighter. I have a spare bear spray in here. I have waterproofs in here. I have a poncho in there. It's always make sure you've got enough stuff with you. Like if somebody said now, okay, you've got to spend the night here, I can do it. I've got a tarp in there. I can build myself a little bed up off the ground here. I've done it before with planks. Just turn these logs around so that they're laying lower, so they're round, and then just put the plank on top. Just put a couple of, if you're going to do that, just put a couple of pieces underneath there to stop the logs from rolling, because you will roll off it. Yeah, it works. Whatever works. But always make sure when you're coming out to places like this, you do have enough stuff with you should you have to spend the night, because there'd be nothing more annoying than coming out somewhere like this, having to spend the night, something happens, twist your ankle, bust your leg, whatever, you know, and you have to spend the night and you don't have all that stuff with you, you could be in serious trouble. Yeah. Especially if it starts pouring over rain. Like I say, I don't mind being wet. Around here, Hypothermia is still an issue. You've got to be careful. Hypothermia will kill you fast. Hypothermia is still an issue, but this time of the year it's not too bad. Yeah, you are going to get wet, you are going to get cold, but if you can have the ability to make a fire, you'll be good. Yeah. I always make sure I have on me at the moment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 different ways of making fire with me today. And I haven't even got my green coat, in my normal green coat that you see me wear. In the green coat there are 2 additional ways of making fire. Always make sure that you have enough ways to make a fire. If you've only have 1 box of matches with you, that's not enough. That is not enough. Yeah, a fire steel is by far and away the best way. And cotton balls. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge fan of cotton balls. Yep. So huge man. If you could feel the heat that's coming off this thing, it's insane. Yeah, it really is good. Yeah. Oh, mosquitoes, go away. I know there's not much smoke now. See, as soon as the smoke dies down, bloody mosquitoes come back. So let's have some of that. Nature's mosquito repellent. Right, so I'm just letting the fire die down a bit. This is my last cup of tea. Cheers, people. So I'm now out of tea. It's time to go home. Yeah, can't stay here now, no tea. Yeah, you can have all the survival stuff that you want, but if you don't have tea, nah. Well, I'm pretty much got rid of most of the ends. I'm willing to bet you by the time I let that fire die right down, I'll let that burn now for probably quite a while yet. I'm not going to put any more wood on it, just going to keep breaking it up. It'll burn through pretty good. And I think I've got rid of most of the ends, so that's good. Keep crunching them up. It's very humid today. It really is humid. It's like, yeah. We don't normally have high humidity. Where I live, this is normally really dry here. Remember when I first moved here, it took me 2 years just to get used to like dry skin. Yeah. It really is a very dry spot. Put that in there. Let's have a look. What will break? Will that break? Oh yeah, it's broken a bit. If you break it up, it exposes the unburnt wood on the inside. The mosquitoes are getting braver. Come on, smoke. That's the only trouble when you have the rain like we've already just had. The mosquitoes just explode. Yeah, they're a very important food source for a lot of things. They're at the bottom of the food chain if you want, and a lot of things eat them. Dragonflies, bugs, bats. Bats eat loads and loads of mosquitoes, which is good. Oh yeah. So you look at it, you think it's not doing much. There is still a lot of heat in there, that's for sure. Let's get rid of these little twiggies. That's why you build a fire within your fire ring. If you build a fire up against the rocks, you can get embers down inside the rock cavities and you can't see them. They're in there and they can smoulder for hours and hours and hours and hours. Yep. And you don't want that. Anybody that remembers how I built this, just in case you're not familiar with what I did, I dug out all the duff that was here, so there's no duff under here, and the bucket that's over there, I filled it with 5 bucketfuls of inert mineral soil with no organics in it whatsoever. Filled the hole in with that, packed it all in so it was solid, and then built my fires on top of that. But my fire was always within the fire ring. Like I say, if I was going to make bigger fires, I'd need a much bigger fire ring. This fire ring's only for small fires. If I was building a big fire, you know, this would be 3 feet round easy. It's not, it's only meant for little fires. Like I say, if you were doing if it was winter, there's a foot of snow on the ground and you wanted to camp here, first thing you do is move all these rocks at the front here, put them along the back, so you make a C shape like this, not a circle, a C shape, and you would sleep roughly where I am now. And I have, you've probably seen them in my other videos, I have some decent sized logs stashed away here. There's 2 there, 3, 4, big long one there. That one there is probably about 30 foot. And there's a whole stack of them just here that I have cut ready. So should I find myself out here in the middle of winter, I don't have to go looking for firewood. I already know there's firewood here. That's why I have that little stack under there of small stuff. They're only this round and this long, but that's what I've been burning today, just burning up those bits that I had from last time. But those small bits, on a normal fire, like this fire, those are the big bits. But on an overnight fire, those are the small bits. So always make sure you have enough long bits and enough short bits. The overnights you want, as we don't have decent hardwood here, unfortunately. If you go to Ontario and what have you, they've got amazing hardwood over there, burn for hours and hours and hours. This stuff here doesn't. It burns fairly hot, but it doesn't burn for a long time. So I have 2 very nice dead standing trees there, literally right there, that are about, what's that, about that round, and that's probably in the middle of winter, probably 5, 6, 7 hours worth of wood in that one tree. So in those 2 big dead standing trees that are right there, there's enough firewood to keep me going overnight. But I already have a bunch already cut. It's important to have that. If you wake up in the middle of the night and your fire's going out, if you've got some big logs, you can lay some of these smaller ones in amongst it, and they will keep a good bed of coals going, and that enables you to build up a big fire. If you've got a big log, it actually takes a lot of heat to get that big log to burn. You can't just put a match on it and hope it's going to burn, because it won't. Yeah. You have these smaller logs, so if you wake up in the night and your fire's dying down, you can build up your triangle again. You have 3 logs like this, put some of these smaller pieces in the middle just as spacers, and you'll be surprised it gets going, especially in the cold weather. Like if it's minus 20, you'll be surprised how that cold gets the fire up and going. Yeah, it really does. Bigger temperature differential or something, I don't know. But I can tell you now from experience that in very cold weather, you can get a fire going really fast. Even in summer. It's like now, everything's bloody wet. You know, if you notice, this fire's been very smoky all day. That's kind of deliberate, because I want to get rid of the mosquitoes. So I'm trying to get rid of all these little bits. Helps keep the mosquitoes down. Yeah. Here's some. No, it's the wind. Wind's starting to pick up. Amazing when you're sitting out in the forest, you get to know all the sounds that are normal. Something over there making a noise. Way in the distance I can hear it. It's over that way. You're not allowed motorised vehicles up in here. I'd say a friend of mine, Eric, he has a trap line up through here. But occasionally I'll bump into him. He's got a quad and a snowmobile. Yeah. I thought I heard an engine that way. Be the other side of the valley, because there's no trails up in here for quad really. Can't hear it now. Yeah. It's a great way to spend the day though, eh? More people should do this. Obviously, fire safety, number one. Before you light a fire, know how you're going to put it out. So I've said many times, my little collapsible fire bucket, there is about, the book says it holds 20 litres, but realistically you get about 10-15 in it, because obviously the shape of the thing. If you was to fill up, if you was to measure the exact volume of that, it probably is 20 litres. But I can tell you now, you can't put 20 litres of water in it. Yeah. Not and carry it. So you get about 10-15 in there. But that's enough to put out a fire this size. Oh yeah, that's plenty of water to put out this fire. But I like to let them burn down. See what I'm doing now? I like to let them burn down. So basically what I've got is wood ash left. It's all turning to see the white wood ash. You can tell when the fire's starting to cool, because you'll start seeing those little bits of wood ash starting to fly. See that? See the little bits of wood ash starting to come out of there? Yeah. That says the fire is using up most of its fuel. Yeah. My plan is for the fire to use up all of its fuel. Yeah. So I will sit here for a bit, let that do its thing, and just enjoy the peace and quiet. Right, that's what a campfire should look like when it's out. I've just poured a whole bunch of water on there, made holes in it. Always make sure you take a stick, stir it all up, don't just throw a bit of water on it and hope for the best. What I do, I like to poke holes in the ground, make sure that water's soaking in there. As you can see, I've got a swamp in there. That's exactly how a campfire should be left. That's all that's left of all the logs that are in here. Those two little pieces. Always soak it down, break it up, stir it up, soak it down some more. Look at that, it's a little puddle over here, which is good. Yeah. And then I will put the rest of that water on there in a mo. I'm just going to pack up all the bench and all that kind of stuff, put all that stuff away. I've still got about, I don't know, 3 or 4 litres I guess in that bucket, and I will put that on there and make sure it's out. But that's how you should leave a campfire, well and truly soaked. Turn it into a charcoal soup. If it's charcoal soup, it can't burn. And later today I do happen to know that we have a whole bunch of rain coming, like quite a bit of rain overnight. I think we've got 8-9 millimeters of rain coming tonight as well, which will certainly help soak down the area, so that's good. But I always like to time these events. Like if I knew tomorrow is going to be blazing hot day and tonight it's going to be really hot and whatever, I don't tend to have campfires when I know the weather conditions aren't conducive. But I know it's going to rain like crap tonight, and I know it's going to rain continuously all day tomorrow. So that's my plan. Have a campfire today and sit and watch the rain tomorrow. Yeah. Alright, I'll put the rest of that bucket on there in a moment. There's more in there, so I've got more water in the bucket. That'll go on there in a mo. And isn't that nice? There's a bloody steep drop off down that side. It literally drops, oh Christ, probably 80 feet down, maybe more. Yeah, it's not quite a cliff, but it's bloody close. Yeah. So I will tidy all this up. There's my other fire bucket over there. This is the one I always keep on site. Whenever I have my campsites, I put these buckets out here. So that one's half full. That's a 5-gallon bucket, so there's probably about 2.5 gallon in there, I guess. And always put a stick in it. See, I've got a stick in there. Yeah. So if any wildlife was to fall in there or whatever, they can still get out. Yeah. And then towards the end of the year, the last campfire that I have of the year up on this site, I will dump all that water on there, turn the bucket upside down so that it can't pose a hazard to anything, and it won't freeze and damage the bucket. I will clear up all this bench and what have you, and I will call that it, I think. Thanks very much for coming along.